Hello there, welcome back. Or if you haven't been here before, welcome. I am Susan Clifton. I'm a South Florida artist and I do a lot of mixed media. I work in collage, fabric mosaic, and I also do jelly prints. So when I do jelly prints, I like to use stencils that I've created. And I use a Cricut Joy for that. So not everybody knows how to use Illustrator, which is usually how I make my designs, also on Procreate, and then I bring them into Illustrator and I make an SVG. It's very complicated. You can just go into the Cricut Design Space and you can use their simple shapes and create your own patterns. That's what we're going to do today. So let's get to it. Okay, so here we are in the Cricut Design Space. I had just clicked on New Project. So you see this grid. This is important if you're going to make a pattern. So if you click over here in that upper left-hand square, right next to the zeros, you'll see that your grid changes. I like the detailed grid. I guess you'll see why in a little bit. But we're also going to talk about alignment, and of course you could be doing a pattern that's completely random, and I'll show you that as well. But we're going to do one that's uniform pattern, and then we'll do one that is, you know, completely random. All right, so let's start with the uniform one. I'm going to click on shapes, and I'm going to use, let's use an octagon. And so now it's 2 inches by 2 inches, which is a little bit, I have a Cricut Joy, so I'm not going to be able to make anything too big. So let's make this a lot smaller. Let's even do less than an inch. Let's see if we can do 170.75. I'm hitting the tab and it made it uniform because this is locked. As you see in between these, the width and the height, it is locked. If you want your shape to be more rectangle or, you know, like one different size width and height, then you have to unlock it. So if you click in the middle, you can click and drag. So I'm using the grid to line up, and I can see that the X and the Y are are like about the same. So I'm going to leave it at that. I can copy, paste, and I can bring it down. Actually, what I'm going to do is make it like sort of same distance apart, and you could use the arrow keys to do some nudging. Now I'm going to take the one in the middle and bring it down, paste again, so I'm using the previous one to measure the position of the other one, and then I'm deleting. Rather than delete, I just move it down, use it as a measurement for my next one. So as you can see, I'm getting the same amount of space in between as the actual size of the octagon. Okay, so I think that's about enough. I'm going to select all of these. And I'm going to go over here to combine, and I'm going to unite. So now when I click over here, it's one unit. So now when I copy and I paste, I'm getting all four of them. And I'm going to line them up because, again, I want to have the same distance. Okay, so I'm duplicating each column and using my arrow keys to nudge it, get them about the same distance apart. So one of the things that I should have done was made sure that my alignment, I'm going to align top. All right, so I'm going to drop this down so that it is lining up with that bottom of this far left octagon and the top of the second row. I'm going to nudge it down a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing with this. Now I can't find any XY coordinates up at the top where these other settings are. We're eyeballing it for now according to the grid. So now I'm going to select all of them again by clicking and dragging over them all. And I'm going to combine again and unite. Right? I'm going to undo that a second. And I want to show you why. So if we just left this, visually, this looks like it's all in our staggered pattern. But when I go to make it, let's say I'm going to just use smart material. You'll see now they're all lined up. They are not a staggered pattern. So I'm going to cancel. And this is why it's important to select them all, click combine, go to unite. So now when I click over here, they are all, it's all one. And when I go to make it, we have our staggered pattern. So now I'm going to prepare some plastic vinyl because I'm going to make a reusable stencil with this. I'm going to attempt to cut this. I'm going to save it. I'm going to click save in the upper right hand corner. And I'm going to call it I'm probably not spelling it correctly, but who cares? I'm saving. That way, if I really like this, I can always cut it again. All right, so now we've already made it, we've united our pattern, and we're going to click make it. So the reason why I'm choosing on matte for any material, I am going to put matte size just because that's the only one I currently have, even though our image is probably going to fit in the 4.5 by 6.5. I'm not really sure. I'm going to hit confirm. And then I'm just going to place it somewhere in the center. Hit continue. It's looking for my Cricut Joy. And I'm going to use foil acetate. So if you browse materials, you'll notice this purplish color. If you browse all materials, it is down here on the bottom somewhere, and it's the only one under plastic. And this craft plastic that I buy, and I will link below, is perfect for this. You don't need a different blade, nothing. You just have to apply more pressure, and then we have to load. So now it's making sure that it's aligned and that there's enough space to actually cut this. And now we're going to hit go. So it makes 2 passes in order to make sure that it's fully cut. And of course, these patterns could also be printed on the smart materials or the other, any kind of vinyls that you would normally cut on a Cricut. Maybe you're going to use it more as a stencil on a wall or a piece of artwork. I like to use the reusable stencils because I am doing a lot of jelly prints, and you can't really use the vinyl on a jelly plate. So I use the reusable ones. They make beautiful ghost prints, and you know, that's just what I'm preferring. But these patterns can be used in a lot of different settings, especially, you know, maybe on a canvas when you're doing some artwork and you want to add some texture to a certain section. You could use it also with spray paint on both the vinyl and the reusable craft plastic. So I'll also link some smart materials down below and also Cricut Joy. If you haven't purchased a Cricut Joy yet, it doesn't take up a lot of space. That's why I like it. I sometimes design my stencils so that they can be used together on a larger plate. They don't, I guess I wish I had a 12 by 12 Cricut, but I don't have the space for it. So I think the Cricut Joy is perfect. Okay, so here's the thing. I always like to lift it a little bit before unloading it. Make sure that it really did cut, and it did. See? I don't know if you could see that. Okay, so now I can hit unload. I have to pull it out. And I have a great stencil that I can reuse. So now we click done, and let's go make another one. I'm going to click new project, have our grid again, and this time I'm just going to do a circle, and I'm going to make it very random this time. I'm going to be mindful that my stencil is only about 4.5 inches wide on the Cricut, so I still don't want this to be quite so big. My biggest one, I'm still making it about 1.5. So now I'm going to copy and paste, but this time I'm going to make this one smaller. Copy and paste it, and I'm just going to randomly place it. Maybe I'll keep this one. I'm going to make a bunch of these. So hey, if you like these kind of videos and you like jelly prints and stencils and all that, please consider subscribing to my channel. We would love to have you here. And give me a thumbs up. I'm not going to spend too much more time on this because I would like it to be more random, but you get the idea. Let's put one more in down here. So you could, like I said, you could mix and match some of these shapes. You can also import some shapes of your own. And if you stay till later in the video, I'm also going to show you how you can go into some of the other images that they have on here that are multicolored, where you could pull out a shape from within one of those and you can use it this way. There are lots of possibilities. Okay, so we are again going to combine this, unite it, and I'm going to save it. Random dots. So we have my vinyl all cut and placed on my mat, and I gave it a good burnish down so that it's really stuck on there. I made the mistake of not doing that once, and let me tell you, it was an intricate pattern, and it got stuck in my Cricut, and it took me a while to figure out exactly how to get it unstuck, but it's and it wasn't broken, so they're pretty hardy machines. Anyway, I'm going to click make it. And again, we're going to use matte any material. This time I think I'm going to leave it. Let's see what happens. Making sure my design fits within that. And I'm going to click continue. And foil acetate. more pressure. Obviously, if you're using a smart material or any kind of vinyl, you don't need more pressure. And now we're going to load. Okay. Let's click go. Okay, so you'll notice on the screen it says cutting one of two passes, but the truth of the matter is it cuts one circle and then it goes back over that circle again. So it doesn't take as long as it seems. On the first time around I had forgotten. The truth of the matter is I don't usually pay attention. I hit go, it starts the cutting, and I walk away and I go do something else because I don't want to sit there and watch this. But now, doing a video, I'm sitting here watching it and I'm like, what? One of two passes? So when you sometimes are working with the craft plastic, your blade might not last as long as if you were only cutting vinyl. But it lasted a pretty long time for me. I cut a lot of vinyl, and I didn't have to replace the blade until, I guess it was about a month ago, I finally replaced it. I guess it depends on how much you're doing, but so don't worry too much. You're going to get a decent amount of stencils, and we are done. Okay, so again, I'm going to test it. Pretty good. And I'm going to hit unload. And done. And there's just a couple that need coaxing on this one. Maybe I am ready for a new blade. Anyway, that one needed a little bit more coaxing than the other one. The other one just came right out. So I don't know if you can see that. I think that's a fun stencil. We're going to try to make a pattern from one of the free images in the Cricut Design Studio, Cricut Design Space. I searched for swirl, and here's this crazy looking tree with swirly branches. So I'm clicking on it and adding to canvas. And I want to isolate some of these layers. So this background, obviously, I don't want. So because it's like a solid, you don't even know what it is. So I'm going to delete that. I don't think we need this one either. So we just need these two. One has little leaves off the edge, which is fine, and the other one is just the teal blue. Okay, so if I click on these individually, I have more control. So I am going to put the green one here, the blue one, the teal one, I am going to rotate. Position it. And I'm going to take the two of them together, copy and paste, and bring that down a little bit and over. I'm going to take all four of them, copy, paste, bring it down, position it. Now I'm going to highlight all of them and reduce it. Now I could keep going. If the long mat is 12 inches, so I could cut up to 12 inches. It's more like a 4.5 by 12 inch piece that I could do. Obviously, if I unite these as we did before, and then we click Make It, so as you can see, it cut perfectly. So even though it had that black line around it, that I was a little bit concerned about what that was going to do. I have to finish weeding these, but as you can see, it did a great job of just taking that one or those two different layers of that colored image, and we were able to create a pattern. Thanks for stopping by today. I hope you enjoyed this video and that it helps you do more with your Cricut. I never tried this before. This was a first for me, and I like the results, so I think I'm going to do it some more. I encourage you to get to know that design space a little bit more. You don't have to have full access in order to use the Cricut Design Space. We're using it to do our cuts. You could also create your own layouts. You could use type, you can do all kinds of things. As a matter of fact, a design made from letters would be fun. Just random letters, different sizes, kind of like what I did with the circles. Give it a try. Let me know how it goes. So before you go, don't forget, create, inspire, and share. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.